Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Sharon Natasha Camila from 5D class, and now I'm gonna present my syntax material. And the first one is pronoun. Pronoun is defined as a word or phrase that is used as a substitution for a noun or noun phrase, which is known as the pronoun's antecedents. Pronouns are short words and can do everything that nouns can do and are one of the building blocks of a sentence. Common pronouns are like he, she, you, me, I, we, us, this, them, and the last one is that. And a pronoun can act as a subject, direct object, indirect object, object of preposition, and more, and takes the place of any person, place, animal, or thing. And for instance, if you're telling a story about your sister Sarah, the story will begin to sound repetitive if you keep repeating Sarah over and over again. Example: Sarah has always loved fashion. Sarah announced that Sarah wants to go to fashion school. And you could try to mix it up by sometimes referring to Sarah as my sister, but then it sounds like you're referring to two different people. The example: Sarah has always loved fashion. My sister announced that Sarah wants to go to fashion school. Instead, you can use the pronouns she and her to refer to Sarah. Like, Sarah has always loved fashion. She announced that she wants to go to fashion school. Now, let's move to the kind of pronouns. And here we have the first personal pronouns. Personal pronouns associated with a certain person, thing, or groups. All except you have distinct forms that indicate singular or plural number. Personal pronouns are always specific and are often used to replace a proper noun like someone's name or a collective group of people or things. Personal pronouns have two main groups. One is referring to the subject of the sentence, and the last one is referring to the object. The first one is um, the personal pronouns that use to replace the subject of the sentence. And the word we use is I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and the last one is they. And here we have an example. The first, just one example. And Jack and David are friends. They play basketball together. And the personal pronouns here is they. And the last one of the kind of personal pronouns is replace the object of the sentence. This kind of personal pronouns include the word me, you, him, her, it, us, you, and the last one is them. We have an example here is missing the train will cause us to be late. And the personal pronouns here is us. And here we have the table um, comparing subject and object pronouns. And we can use the following table here to compare subject and object pronouns. And notice that some subject pronouns are identical to certain object pronouns like it, you, and what. And the rest of them is different, like subject pronoun I and object pronoun me, and the subject pronoun he, the object pronoun him, and the subject pronoun she. For the object pronoun is her, and so on. Next, here we have indefinite pronouns, and these pronouns referring to one or more unspecified objects, being, or place, such as someone, anybody, and nothing. The example of indefinite pronouns is like anybody, somebody, whichever, whoever, other, something, and the last one is nobody. And indefinite pronoun examples in the following sentences are in bold for easy for us to identification. So I make it bold. And the first example is, would anyone like coffee? And the indefinite pronouns here is anyone. Next, take whatever you like. Jamie took one cookie and Ben took the other. And here we have two indefinite pronouns. The first one is the word whatever, and the second one is the word the other. And indefinite pronouns can also be used to create um, sentences that are almost abstract. Like, and the word is, the examples could include is this, all, such, and something. And the first example we have here is all was not lost. And the abstract indefinite pronouns here is all. And the second one is such is life. And the abstract indefinite pronouns is such. And the last one is something tells me this one and well. And here we have two abstract indefinite pronouns. The first one is something, and the last one is the word this. Next, we have demonstrative pronouns. And these pronouns used to point to something specific within a sentence. There are only four demonstrative pronouns. These, that, these, and those. But the usage can be a bit tricky at times. Um, this and that are singular, and these and those are plural. As you may have noticed, there can be some crossover with indefinite pronouns when using this and that. Demonstrative pronouns examples here is I prefer this, and the demonstrative pronouns here is the word this, and the second one is these are beautiful, but those belong to Danny. And in this sentence, we have two demonstrative pronouns. The first one is these, and the second one is those. And the last sentence is did you see that? And the demonstrative pronouns here is that. While it can be confusing, this, that, these, and those can sometimes be used as demonstrative adjective. And the difference between the two is that a demonstrative pronouns replace the noun, and demonstrative adjective qualifies the noun. If and demonstrative pronouns is I prefer this, and demonstrative adjective is I prefer this photo. And there are a noun after the demonstrative adjective. And the second one is if uh, in demonstrative pronouns is did you see that? And demonstrative adjective it can be did you see that rainbow? And so now it should be clear that these, that, these, and those in the example above are not pronouns because they are being used to qualify the noun but not replace it. And a good trick to remembering the difference is that a demonstrative pronoun would still make sense if the word one or once followed it in a sentence, like I prefer this one, or these ones are beautiful, or did you see that one, or those ones belong to Danny. Next, we have reflexive pronouns. These pronouns precede by the adverb, adjective, pronoun, or noun to which they refer, and ending in self or selves. Reflexive pronouns are used to refer back to the subject or clause of a sentence. And the list of reflexive pronouns includes myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, and yourselves, and the last one is themselves. And the sentence examples here is the first one is count yourselves, and of course the reflexive pronouns here is yourselves. The second one is Annie only had herself to blame, and the reflexive pronoun here is herself. And the last one is Peter and Paul had baked themselves cakes, and the reflexive pronoun here is themselves. Next, we have possessive pronouns. And these pronouns designating possession or ownership. Examples include mine, its, hers, his, yours, ours, theirs, um, and that's it. And we can consider the example. The first one is mine. This cat is mine. The second one is yours. Are these bananas yours? The third one is ours. This money is ours. And last, theirs. The bag is theirs. And for the first example, this cat is mine. Mine is indicating possession, that the cat belongs to me. Incidentally, this in the sentence is not a pronoun but a demonstrative adjective as it qualifies the noun cat. And next we have relative pronouns. And these pronouns revert to nouns mentioned previously, acting to introduce an adjective or relative clause. They will usually appear after a noun to help clarify the sentence or give extra information. And the example is the first we have who, and the sentence is the man who stole the car went to jail. And the relative pronoun who acts to refer back to the noun man. It acts to open a clause by identifying the man as not just any man, but the one who stole the car. And the second is we have which. The table which sits in a hallway is used for correspondence. Next, the third is that. The car that crashed into the wall was blue. And the last is whose. This is the woman whose key you found. Next, we have interrogative pronouns. And these pronouns introduce a question. Example include who, whom, whose, what, and which. We can usually identify an interrogative pronoun by the fact that they often appear at the beginning of the question. And we have the example. For the who will come to the party? Which do you prefer? What do you need? Whose clothes are on the floor? And whom did you tell? Whom and who are often confused, but and even native speakers will use them incorrectly. Who will replace the subject of a sentence, whereas whom will replace the direct of indirect object. A good tip for deciding which to use is that you can replace who in the sentence with a personal pronoun and it will still make sense. Examples. Who will come to the party? I will come to the party. The same system would not work for whom did you tell? I did you tell. Next, we have reciprocal pronouns, and these pronouns expressing mutual actions or relationship like one another. And we have here there are just two reciprocal pronouns in English. The first one is one another, and the last one is each other. They are mainly used to stop unnecessary repetition in a sentence, but also reinforce the idea that collective and reciprocal actions are happening to more than one person or thing. For the first one is each other. The sentence example is John and Mary gave each other gifts. And using each other here makes a sentence to be more efficient than John gave Mary a gift and Mary gave a gift to John. And the last for a sentence example for one another is the countries work with one another on national security. In this example, one another works to suggest that the action of working is being reciprocated back and forth by more than one country. The last one we have intensive pronouns, and this pronouns has ending in self or selves, and that serve to emphasize their antecedents. These are almost identical to reflexive pronouns. But rather than just referring back to the subject of the sentence, they work to reinforce the action. The first example is myself. I will do it myself. And the second one is ourselves. We made this pie ourselves. And the last one is itself. A nation speaks for itself through election. Notice how the intensive pronoun is working to emphasize this statement. The sentence would still technically be correct without the intensive pronoun, but it adds some important context to its meaning.